It's summer vacation, and many students are travelling back to their families. Kirsch goes along with Tabitha to her home. As a result, Louise and Saito are alone for once. Kirsch learns that Tabitha's real name is Charlotte, Princess of Gallia, and that she has a tragic past in which her mother drank a potion that drove her insane. Her reason for returning home is revealed to be a mission from her uncle, the King of Gallia. Meanwhile, Montmorency is upset that Guiche has been flirting with other girls, makes aphrodisiac, a kind of love potion, and tries to slip it into Guiche's drink. Saito finds a large cooking pot that was about to be thrown away and fashions it into a hot tub later that night, similar to those in Japan. While Saito relaxes in the tub, Siesta passes by and joins him, much to his embarrassment. Louise sees the two together and becomes so frustrated that she interrupts Guiche and Montmorency and accidentally consumes the drink with the love potion in it. When Saito returns to her room, Louise gets flustered and falls completely in love with him. Louise continues her lovey-dovey behaviour towards Saito, which freaks him out, as well as causes a misunderstanding with Siesta. In desperation, Saito demands that Montmorency create an antidote, but she refuses to help until he threatens to blackmail her into helping. Saito learned from Siesta that emotion-changing potions are illegal. Since the antidote requires the tear of a water elemental, Montmorency and Guiche lead Saito and the love-struck Louise to Lagdorian Lake, where they make contact with the water spirit, who is flooding the land so that she can search for her stolen precious treasure, but she is being hindered by magic users. Saito volunteers to deal with them, and he and Guiche fight the intruders who turn out to be Kirsch and Tabitha. Saito promises to find whatever the water spirit has lost. The spirit trusts his word as Gandalfr and gives him the antidote. Having taken care of the love potion, Louise and Saito receive a new mission. In order to strengthen her country's alliance, Princess Henrietta is to be wed to the Emperor of Germania. Louise and Saito must recover an indiscreet letter that Henrietta wrote to the Prince Wales of Albion, or the wedding will be cancelled. The princess is unable to see the prince in person because Albion is in a state of civil war. Guiche overhears the conversation and volunteers to aid the princess, and Henrietta accepts, much to Louise and Saito's surprise. Before leaving, Saito learns about Gandalfr and legendary void magic from Colbert, as well as a story of two dragons. On the day of departure, their escort, Wards, captain of the Griffin Squadron, arrives. It turns out he is also Louise's fiancé, and Saito grows jealous of him. Later, Derflinger talks to Saito about Gandalfr, and how only Gandalfr can wield Derflinger. Wards proposes to Louise then, at dinner, asks Saito to spar with him. Wards wins easily and mocks Saito's promise to protect Louise, leaving Saito depressed. That evening, Louise and Wards board the ship after convincing her that Guiche and Saito have returned home. He persists in his courtship and Louise accepts his proposal. In truth, the boys have been delayed by the sudden appearance of Fouquet and her golem. They are saved by Kirsch and Tabitha, who showed up on Silford. Saito figures out that Wards and Fouquet were working together and Louise is in trouble. Wards and Louise arrive in Albion, the floating continent, where they meet with Prince Wales. Louise delivers the letter, then Wales gives a reply letter to her that she is meant to retrieve and learns of the power behind the uprising of nobles in Albion, the Reconquista. Their mission supposedly completed, Wards insists that they get married in Albion. He reveals himself as a member of the Reconquista and is a threat to Wales. Louise tries to refuse, but one of Ward's allies, Cromwell, arrives with the water spirit's stolen ring and forces her to consent using mind control. The marriage proceeds with Wales officiating and is nearly complete when Saito bursts into the church and snaps Louise out of her trance. The marriage ceremony is ruined. Wards kills Wales, steals the letter from Louise, and tries to kill Saito. However, Ward's treatment of Louise angers Saito, and he is able to unlock his abilities as Gandalfr and fully utilise Derflinger. He defeats Ward's magic, who flees, but not before bringing the church down on Louise and Saito. The two of them are rescued by Tabitha and the others, and Silford flies everyone home. Saito, holding Louise in his arms, kisses her. Louise informs Henrietta of Wales' death, and the princess' wedding is cancelled. Louise also warns Osmond about the Reconquista. Osmond then tells her about void magic and Gandalfr. After another argument with Louise, Saito accompanies Siesta to her home village of Taubes to find a dragon. Louise and others follow them and they locate the rare dragon, which Siesta's family has kept as an heirloom. Saito finds a tombstone with a Japanese epitaph on it. The dragon turns out to be an A6M Zero fighter, a Japanese aircraft. It is revealed that Siesta's great-grandfather was an IJN pilot from World War II, and that he was magically transported into Halkagenia just as Saito was. Colbert explains that the two dragons had flown during a solar eclipse, but one disappeared. He suggests that the timing of the second pilot, Siesta's great-grandfather, was off, and that the solar eclipse ended before the second pilot was able to fly through the portal. Saito concludes that the other pilot returned home, and this is his chance to return home as well. As they bring the plane back to school, Albion declares war on Tristan, wanting to use the country as a base from which they can conquer the rest of the continent and plan to launch their attack in 3 days during the next solar eclipse. Saito tells Louise that he wants to return home during the upcoming solar eclipse, and he gets angry when she acts as if she doesn't care. A war between Albion and Tristan is deemed inevitable. Henrietta assembles a military force that conscripts the boys from the academy. Louise walks in on a sleeping Saito, whereupon she says goodbye. The next morning, Saito wakes to find a letter in which Louise has written, "You're fired, just go wherever you want." Louise decides to join the princess in the war. Saito gets in his Zero fighter, while Henrietta advances with the Tristan military to intercept the invading Albion force at the village of Taubes. Instead of flying straight into the eclipse, Saito attacks Albion's dragon squadrons, who are unable to keep up with the plane's speed. Saito runs out of bullets and is attacked by wards on a wind dragon. Louise jumps from Silford to Saito's plane. Tabitha, Kirsch and Guiche together break down Fouquet's golem, and Fouquet flees for good. At the thought of Saito being harmed, Louise finally makes a connection with Saito and unlocks her void magic for the first time, casting a powerful spell known as Explosion, which destroys the entirety of Albion's aerial force, including wards. After the battle, with the solar eclipse past and the Zero fighter nearly destroyed, Saito and Louise sit by the plane's wreckage where they have an argument once again and end up kissing. Elsewhere, Cromwell tries to hypnotise Kirsch and Tabitha with the Ring of Andavari, but Guiche knocks him unconscious. Later, the 4 aristocrats are awarded medals by Henrietta, and Tabitha is given the Water Spirit Ring to fulfil the promise to return it. Louise is so excited about her medal that she rushes to show it to Saito, only to find him chatting with Siesta. In a typical fashion, Louise overreacts and punishes Saito. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to let us know by leaving a like. Subscribe for more stories and check out other stories here.